Our second reading is taken from chapter 12 of the Gospel of Luke. In the meantime, when an innumerable multitude of people had gathered together, so that they trampled one another, he began to say to his disciples, first of all, "Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have spoken in the dark will be heard in the light. What you have spoken in the air in inner rooms will be proclaimed on the housetops. And I say to you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do. But I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after he has killed, has power to cast into hell. Yes, I say to you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins? And not one of them is forgotten before God. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not fear, therefore. You are of more value than many sparrows." Amen. Our further reading is a portion taken from Arcana Coelstia, number 6849. Because he was afraid to look upon God, that this signifies lest they should be injured by the presence of the divine itself, is evident from the signification of being afraid, as being fear, lest they should be injured. Namely, the interiors, for this was the cause of the fear, and from the signification of looking upon God as being the presence of the divine itself. For the Lord is presented before man in no other way than by an internal looking, which is effected through the faith that is charity. If the Lord appears to anyone in an outward form, still it is the interiors which are affected. For the divine penetrates into the most. In regard to the interiors not being injured by the presence of the divine itself, and that on this account they were protected, the case is this. The divine itself is pure love, and pure love is like a fire which is more ardent than the fire of the sun of this world. And therefore, if the divine love in its purity were to flow into any angel, spirit, or a man, he would utterly perish. Hence, it is that Jehovah, or the Lord, is in the Word, so often called a consuming fire. Amen. And I say to you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do. But I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after he has killed, has power to cast into hell. Yes, I say to you, fear him. What makes you frightened and scared? Certainly, the constantly mutating virus scares us. The trend of pop culture makes us fearful. Maybe rapid climate change worries us. Besides such big ones, creepy insects, making blunders and mistakes, and even a dental appointment make us fearful. We have various fears and phobias. Fear is never a pleasant sensation, isn't it? None of us like to be scared, but it seems everywhere in our life. We also experience fear in a religious context. According to Rudolf Otto, our sense of holiness consists of a tremendum, Latin word, which means terror, awfulness, and dread. Have you ever trembled in worship service by sensing the Lord's close and immediate presence? Have you been dreadful for what we have done? The fear we feel in holy and religious context is extremely useful. It is necessary. This holy fear is encouraged to have in many places in the Word. In our reading of this morning, the Lord says that we should fear Him. Fearing the Lord doesn't seem to align with very well our image of the loving God. The Lord warned His disciples to be aware of the dangers plotted by the scribes and Pharisees. From time to time, they tried to find faults with the Lord in order to accuse Him, which actually made His disciples fearful. The disciples needed to be aware of possible dangers, but they didn't have to fear them. Instead, whom they were to fear is the Lord. We don't have to be afraid of those who can destroy, who can do harm to only our natural lives. But we should fear the Lord, who can destroy our eternal lives as well as natural ones. Why do we have to fear the Lord, whose essence is pure love? What is fear that is required of us? Fear is defined as an unpleasant and strong feeling caused by the presence or expectation of danger. Where does the fear of God come from? It comes from the Lord Himself. This usually happens when we feel His close presence in our hearts and conscience, where our intimate thoughts and affections are moved and affected. We might wonder, how come this feeling of the Lord's presence brings forth fear and even a sense of danger within us? The divine itself is a pure love, and this pure love is like a fire, which is much more ardent than the sun of the natural world. Divine love is what shines as the sun in the spiritual world. So if the divine love in its purity were to flow into any angel, spirit, or human, he or she would completely perish of its heat. Lest therefore the angels in heaven should be injured by the influx of heat from the Lord. They are each of them veiled over by a certain thin and suitable cloud in order to temper the heat flowing from the sun. We need on earth more of a tempered and attenuated warmth and light from the Lord. Otherwise, we would perish at the immediate presence of the divine, as written in Malachi. Who can endure the day of His coming? And who can stand when He appears? The Lord flows into our affections and thoughts. When this divine hidden light are closely experienced within us, it makes us tremble with awe. This trembling feeling is based on the clear recognition of the sharp contrast between the infinite and the finite, and who is eternal and who is temporal. His love and perfection are are incompatible with our egocentric love and imperfect, filthy nature. We cannot bear His presence. As we reflect on our thoughts and desires from His light, we can hardly bear His presence because of overwhelming guilt and pain on our conscience. While our conscience is being tormented, we come to sense a certain danger that we may perish in its ardent heat, resplendent light. The heavenly doctrines for the new church indicate that this was the cause of the fear. The ancients obviously were very clearly aware of such danger and closely exposing to the Lord, especially when they were not purified. After Manoah, Samson's father, saw an angel of God, he told his wife, "We shall surely die, because we have seen God." The Lord also warned Moses that, "You cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live." If the fear of God comes from the Lord's presence with us, this feeling should be the way we perceive divine love and wherefrom our love to the Lord. It sounds like a paradox because we supposedly sense love and fear at the same time. Is it possible? However, it happens, and we experience this when we truly love someone. We are extremely careful not to displease the loved one and not to hurt that person in any way. We fear to do anything which may cause damage to our mutual love and relationship. Please remember the time when you fell in love with your spouse and such blinded honeymoon period. Did anyone dare to frown or to say no to your spouse? Indeed, these two joined yet opposite feelings coexist in our intimate relationships. The writings explain the coexistence likewise. Fear is as with children towards parents, and parents towards children, with wives towards husbands, and husbands towards wives, also as with friends towards friends, in whom there is a fear of injuring and also respect. Such a fear with respect is in all love and in all friendship. So that love and friendship without such a fear and respect is like food not sorted, which is insipid. When we love the Lord, we naturally tend to be fearful. What do we fear in our love to Him? We would be very careful in what we love, think, and what we actually do. We would become dreadful if we find anything wrong in them, because any evil is contrary to Him. Anything that is not in accordance with the Word will make us worried, because it will block receiving His influx, His blessing, and it will eventually sever our relationship with our Lord. Considering the use of the fear resided in our love, this fear needs to be extended to more areas and all realms of our spiritual life. From this love, we need to fear to injure our neighbor, good and truth of the church, and the integrity of our spiritual life. Indeed, we are taught in the Apocalypse Revealed, because everyone who loves also fears to do evil to him whom he loves. Genuine love is not given without that fear. As this fear is another expression of love and can be within and actually is within or united to love, it is called holy fear. We are taught that when fear is instilled in love, it becomes holy from the holy of love. Holy fear is unlikely the fear of the Lord's anger and damnation, and far from a fear of hell, because we experience holy fear only in heavenly loves. Holy fear is indeed another side of heavenly love, another expression of that love. It is fear lest we should act against the good itself. Such is the fear of God. The writings teach us that so far as they are governed by the good of love, fear is not apparent. But so far as they are not governed by good, it is apparent and develops into anxiety. This love incites us to fear all false ideas and evil desires, and further abstains us from doing them. Fearing evil and shunning from it is the key part of our regeneration. Such fear is being insinuated into our love while we are regenerated. After the insinuation of the fear into love, this fear is not anymore dread of the Lord, but it transforms to the fear of injuring our relationship with the loving God and His holy things. This fear changes our state as we progress in the process of our regeneration, so the Lord could heal our spiritual problems and guides us at first indeed by fear of punishment, and afterwards by fear that is united with love. This holy fear is often attended in our worship. In our worship, in all things of worship, there is a holy and reverential fear, which the Lord is to be honored, in no way injured. Holy fear leads us to genuine humility, and from this to homage. These essential elements of worship are expressed in corresponding actions of gestures, which are bending the knees, falling forward on the knees, and also prostration of the body flat on the ground, which was a common ritual in the most ancient church. We cannot imagine everyone has the same kind or the same level of fear. Fear differs with everyone because every person has different quality and amount of love. Even though the divine fear is equally felt in both the evil people and good people, in some ways both are quite different. The quality or the motives of the fear can never be same. We read, in general, there are two kinds of fear: fear that is not inspired by holiness, and fear that is inspired by it. Fear that is not inspired by holiness fears those who are evil, whereas fear that is inspired by it fears those who are good. The former fear is found within those who are not regenerated or who are in actual present evils. The evil people cannot experience the Lord's love within them because they don't love the Lord. So they do not care about damaging their relationship with the Lord. They don't care much about displeasing the Lord and doing harm to His love that directed to themselves by committing sins. In these people, holy fear is not experienced at all. People who don't have holy fear accept only divine truth, separated from divine good. The writings point out that the divine truth carries with it fear, dread, and terror to those who are not in good. But not so the divine good, which terrifies no one. Divine truth, separated from divine good, is fearful, terrifies those who receive it. Evil people receive the dreadful divine truth, and they are terrified by his damnation and punishment, which often appear in many stories in the Old Testament. A great deal of such fears existed among the children of Israel, because they feared only his punishment and condemnations without loving him. The Lord commanded them to fear him, therefrom keep the statutes in many places in the Old Testament. We read from Deuteronomy, "Therefore you shall keep the commandments of the Lord, to walk in his ways and to fear him." It is said in Jeremiah, "I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn from away from doing them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, so that they will not depart me." Unfortunately, we do have various kinds of fear, some serious, some understandable, and others even silly. Perhaps we'd better be strong and of good courage, like Joshua, not to be fearful in order to be more useful and productive. On the contrary, we should have the fear of God right in our love to him. Moreover, we should develop an acute, exquisite, and a keen sense for this holy fear, so that the fear may protect our love to the Lord intact. This holy fear is supposed to be felt in various aspects and stages in our life. In other words, holy fear we feel in our celestial love in deep inside of us needs to be expanded to our reverence to his threefold word and sincere observance of it. And in the regeneration process, these various meanings of fear are meant in the original language. The Hebrew verb yare, which means to fear, also means to venerate and to revere. Let us remind that the experience of holy fear is different with each person, because each one has his or her own unique love and understanding. It is also differently experienced in various stages in our life. In the incipient state of spiritual life, we fear sins and evils on account of the punishment of hell. Afterwards, on account of the sin itself, because it is in itself heinous and evil. Finally, we fear to do them for the sake of the Lord and our precious relationship with him. As far as we are concerned with the Lord and his holy attributes, we are able to turn away from what is contrary to the Lord, which is evil. This fear we feel in our love to the Lord is a holy fear. It is a mature, noble fear, lest anything whatever be done or thought that is against the Lord and our neighbor. Does anything whatever that is contrary to charity and to his teachings takes place. It is an aversion that forms the boundary of holiness, of faith, and of the holiness of love, separated from unholy and filthy things. What is the nature of our holy fear. What does it look like? Do we fear the Lord because we may be punished and cast into hell? Or do we fear Him because we hate the diabolical nature of sins and we truly love Him? We should always have the fear of God throughout our spiritual growth and regeneration. This fear needs to be developed until it becomes genuine, holy fear. That is a protector of our celestial and spiritual loves. Let's have this holy fear as the little children have it toward their dear parents, and husbands and wives have it toward each other. Is the Lord our Heavenly Father? Isn't He the bridegroom to our mother church, which we constitute as the whole? We read, "For as the heavens are high above the earth, so great is His mercy those who fear Him. As a father pities his children, so the Lord pities those who fear Him." Amen.